YouTube. All right, this is Mahadeva, still experimenting with streaming on multiple platforms. I also forgot that there was a time change. I actually thought today was tomorrow. I got up prepared to deal with clients because it would normally be Monday my time, but it's actually Sunday my time, Saturday yours if you're in the United States. In any case, yeah, a little discombobulated, but still plugging away. So, if you're new to my channel, I'm streaming here on YouTube. I'm also streaming on Twitch and on Twitter. And let's see, where else am I live at the moment? Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and that's it. And some Russian thing, which I don't think anybody watches over there, but that's what I am doing here at the moment, you know. All right, so today we are going to talk about how to be happy in an unhappy world. 10 steps. 10 steps to happiness in an unhappy world. So, as you know, I am a firm believer in taking action. But we have been programmed not to take action. You have been programmed to consume. You have been programmed to react. Now the whole world, you have not been programmed to create your own happiness. So even if you're a normal person, you're happy in your life, there's still a possibility that you're not achieving the happiness that you want to have in life. But the truth is that many of us, probably many of you who are watching me on this channel, you were not even given the basic tools. So the truth is that many of you have been struggling with your happiness your whole life. Many of you have felt that life is difficult, life is challenging, life has it in for you. And if all you have to do is just turn on any media, you can watch any news anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's Fox News or CNN, it doesn't matter if you're watching television or if you're live streaming or whatever, you will find that most people are complaining about something. They're complaining about life. And that's because you've been programmed to believe that life is something that happens to you. Now again, I want to be clear. For some people, life is challenging. Some people's lives are more challenging than others. And some of the obvious ones, if somebody's born with some kind of physical disability, but we're talking about people who are physically perfectly healthy, but they weren't given the tools as kids. They've been depressed most of their lives. They've struggled. And again, you hear it everywhere. You've got the MGTOW boys that walk around talking about how women in society have it in for them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You listen to somebody politically. You listen to somebody based on their ethnicity. There's always some reason, if you want to find it, there's no shortage of reasons for you to feel that happiness is something that you aren't going to be able to find, that this world is unfair, that the cabal, the hidden cabal, is keeping things from you, that the false beings of light, that God and Satan, that karma, there's no shortage of places where you can go to justify why you're not happy. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about 10 things you can do that if you do them, you can actually create happiness. All right, so this is a question and answer. I'm happy to take questions. I recommend that, God Emperor, wait until I'm done talking before you ask a question. You don't even know what I'm going to talk about yet. Sit back, take it in, let me do my magic, let me stick my fingers in your mind and play with your brain matter. All right, so we've got a list here. So We're going to take a look at the 10 things, a list. It's not the only things, because as you know, I teach all kinds of things that you can do: how to escape the matrix, how to control the matrix, how to find your deepest passion, how to find your soul desire. We talk about that. What happens if you're just in a funk? You just feel crappy. I'm going through some challenges right now. I can't surf. I got a bruised rib. And so I've taken a few days off from everything, which I hate. I have to move. I need to move. I need physical exercise. If I don't, I'm not a happy person. So I'm using this list myself because I'm consciously making the decision to just let my body rest and heal. So that's where this list came from. This is me talking to myself. So let's take a look at the list here. First, take full responsibility. All right, so it is very easy when you are in a funk, when you've gone through some trauma, when you've lived a traumatic life. It's very easy to blame everything. Nothing is happening to you. You're taught to do this. You know, I deal with this all the time with my clients who, when we're talking about finding your soul desire or having your perfect career, people will say, I don't feel ready to do this yet, you know, and they go off of their feelings. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident. And, you know, that's a non-starter. So they're waiting for some feeling to come to them, which is not taking responsibility. They'll say, I would love to do that, but, you know, I don't have the money. I have to wait until I have the money. That's not taking responsibility. Taking responsibility says that you are responsible for everything that is going on externally in your life. Now, let me be clear. I'm starting from the assumption that you're in a funk. Something has happened. Something chemically, something emotionally, something has happened either in your whole life or right now. You can't control the way that you feel at the moment. So you can't take responsibility. You can choose to think about and indulge in things that are more helpful for you. So you can take that kind of responsibility. But you can't necessarily just change your feeling. So it comes down to what you can do. What can you do? So you take full responsibility for wherever you are. Your poverty, your misery, your loneliness, your whatever it is that you know, whatever is keeping you from having the life that you want. Even if you don't know, this is important. You may not know how you manifested this. You may not know why you chose the parents you chose. Like, how can I mean, my parents did this to me. Yeah, I'm sure they did. But you have to have the mindset of, I chose this, I created it, I don't know how yet, but I did. Because then if you created it, then you can find a way out. I'm looking at the bottom here, there's one thumbs down. Who the hell, what is that about? We're talking about how to have happiness and somebody's already clicked the thumbs down. So that's somebody who I don't think is on the fast track to happiness. They're already, I haven't even started I'm only on step 1 and they already don't like it. All right, so you have to take full responsibility. That's number 1. And again, full responsibility starts from, I am not feeling the way I want to feel. I don't have the things I want to have, and I created it, I'm just not sure how yet. Right? Be okay being unhappy. It's good to be honest. Be honest with where you're at. Just be where you are. Don't try and change that. But take the attitude of, okay, I know I'm responsible, which means I know I can fix it. Okay, now what? All right, so let's move on to number 2. Seek professional help. This is if you're somebody if you've been miserable your whole life, if you grew up in a really toxic situation, if you grew up in an alcoholic family, you grew up in an abusive home, You grew up, whatever. You want to blame your parents. Maybe they did do it to you. You need to have some kind of professional help. So I strongly recommend, if people are really unhappy with their lives, that they get some kind of counseling. And I don't care what it is. But this channel is not devoted to that kind of stuff, so I won't get too deeply into it. But be prepared to have some kind of help. Find a mentor. Find somebody who has what you want. Whether it's on YouTube or whether it's somebody in your life, find somebody who has what you want, who's achieved what you want to achieve, and go and listen to them. When I share stuff with people and I tell them to do stuff, here's my suggestion, they'll give me reasons not to do it. And I'll say, hey, look, if you know better than me, go do it. If you're coming to me because you think I have something that you want, then it's in your best interest to follow my directions. You don't have to if you don't want to. But what's the point of coming to me if you're going to do something completely different? If you got a better idea, then you don't need me. So if your life isn't going the way that you want, if you don't have the things that you want, then you're not the person you want to get advice from. Because you haven't proven in your life you can give yourself what you want, so why listen to yourself? This happens a lot when I talk to, I see this with people again on both of my channels, but people will say, no, you know what, I'm going to be my own teacher, and I'm like, but you're the one that got yourself where you are. There's some tool that you're missing that somebody else has. This isn't some, it's not a badge of honor to do it yourself. We are social animals. We need that social interaction. So find some kind of person that you can go to, whether it's a counselor or whether it's a mentor or whether it's whatever it is. Find somebody whom you can ask, how did you get where you are? How can I have what you have? All right, and then number 3. This is important. We already started talking about this. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are not facts. All right, so again, one of the biggest things I run into when I work with people is they want something to change their feelings. They'll say, I'll do it, I just have to feel like it first. I'll go and take that risk, I just need the money first. I'll quit my job, I just need the money first. I'll leave my parents' house, or I'll leave my rich husband, I just need the money first. So when I get the money, and of course I say that's not how this works. The matrix, the universe, responds to your actions. If you're sitting around waiting for the universe to give you what you need, the universe is waiting around for you to act. It's sitting there with the lottery check in its hands, going, okay, yeah, I can give it to you, but you have to move first. You have to commit yourself to what you want, and then I'll give you what you need. And you're sitting there going, well, give me what I need and I'll move. And the universe says, I can't do that. That's not how this works. You don't know that. You somehow got the feeling that you had to be given something first, whether it's a feeling or the resources. And you're sitting around waiting for that because somewhere you got the idea that's how it works. Maybe you went to church and they told you to pray, and you go and you pray, and they said, well, sometimes God says no. He said, God, give me the money to do what I want, and God doesn't give it to you. So one of the end results is that people come to the conclusion that the universe either is empty or it's against them because they haven't been given what they need. But that's not how the universe works. This life is a participation video game. You can't get any of the little power-ups unless you walk through the game and go looking for them and do whatever action the game tells you to do. This game tells you you have to take action regardless of your feelings. So your feelings are not facts. You have doubt, you have pain, you have sadness, you have depression, you have anger, you have resentment, you have all of those things. But those are your feelings. I mean, listen, I'm no different than you. I wake up every day, and the garbage that goes through my head, the feelings that I wake up with in the morning, especially if I take a nap in the afternoon, oh my God, I wake up with the worst. My head just tells me the worst things about myself. And I have to remind myself that these feelings aren't coming from anything objective. They're not coming from anything outside of me. They're completely internally generated. Now, maybe where you are, maybe you live with abusive family members, people who aren't supportive. Maybe they do heap insults. I know it was like for me. My brother just heaped insults on me all day, every day. So maybe you actually do have somebody outside of you telling you how to feel, but then again, your feeling isn't the objective fact. Their feeling about you isn't the objective facts either. So feelings aren't facts. The reason I'm telling you that is you can't make the feelings go away. People ask me the same question all the time. How can I get over my fear? How can I get over my anger? How can I get over this? And I said, who said you were supposed to get over that? Here's the thing about feelings. There is some truth that there's very little power some people have over how they feel. There's some people you feel crappy a lot of the time, and there's really nothing anybody can do to stop that. It's just something in your psyche, who knows what. But when it comes to feeling good is also a result. If you want happiness, you have to take actions that result in happiness. You know, all the hormones in the brain that are released that make you feel good, lots of those are released as a result of action. That's one of the reasons I go to the gym and I work out as hard as I do. Whenever I come back from the gym, I always feel better, and I always feel more hopeful, and I always feel more confident, which is what's challenging me now, because I'm choosing not to go to the gym to let my ribs heal. So it's hard on me because I can't go and generate those feelings through going to the gym. So feeling good is oftentimes a result of the actions. All right, so Jack Perry, you've just tuned in. Here's how this works. This is my channel. I'm going to do things the way I want. You, my friend, have every option to go somewhere else. Just, if you don't like the way I'm doing it, there's the door. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Plenty of places you can go. If you want to stay, you're welcome to. That's not what we do here. All right? This is a question and answer. So you're going to have to sit and let me finish my lecture. And then if you have a question for me, I'll be happy to answer it. All right. So I'm going to not distract myself by looking at the text. All right. Let's get to number 3 here. Number 4, assume you are loved. Now that's hard for me at the moment because I just got somebody criticizing me, telling me I wasn't doing it the way he wanted it. And, I'm not doing things the way he wants me to do it. So it's hard for me to assume I'm loved when it comes to him, because if my whole point of doing things was about making him happy, I would already be a failure. But that's not the way the universe works. You assume that you are loved. You assume, number 4, that you are loved by the universe, because you may not feel that way. You may feel like everything is coming down on your shoulders. You may feel that everything is against you. You may feel that there's no hope. But again, feelings aren't facts. You can have whatever feelings you want. Assuming, I use that word very specifically, assume you are loved. That is an action. You don't have to feel loved. You assume. So this is really important. This is what's called, individuation. Individuation is where you are not influenced by other people's thoughts, feelings, or actions towards you. And or even if you are influenced by it, they don't determine your actions. So Jack Perry wants to tell me how to do things, and I'm not willing to let him determine how I run my channel. And it's okay with me if he doesn't like it, he can leave. If he does like it, I hope he does, he can stay. But if you're individuated, you make the decision on what you're going to do, and sometimes you do that in spite of your feelings. And so you may not feel that the universe loves you. You make the assumption. And so an assumption isn't, you're going to say, yeah, but that doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't feel good. It's not necessarily has to feel good right now. What you want it to do is you want the assumption to change your action. So assumptions precede actions, right? You're going to jump out of a plane because you've got a parachute on your back, and you're going to jump out of the plane and you're going to skydive. Now, you look out the plane, and everything that your senses is telling you is that if you jump out of this plane, you will fall to your death. Your whole body, your sphincter's tightening up. You're just so afraid. I mean, I'm afraid of heights, so that would scare the crap out of me. But you have a parachute on your back, and so you have the mental understanding to assume I'm going to be fine. I've got a parachute. I assume I'm going to be fine, even though common sense is telling me if I jump out of this plane, I'm going to fall to my death. So assumptions precede your actions. You don't have to feel that you're loved by the universe, but just assume the universe loves you and take actions accordingly. If you want to ask that girl out, you want to go and get that job, you want to move into another apartment, but you're not sure you have the money or that the money will come to you. You assume that you are loved and you will be taken care of, and you go take the action even though you don't feel it. So that's step 4, assume you are loved. Number 5, give to yourself first. This is specifically because there's a lot of people who spend their life trying to please other people. They get their value and their sense of worth based on other people. What people say, what people do. In fact, there are some people, their entire lives are built around needing to be validated by other people. I'm not judging you for that. That is how many of us are trained. If you grew up in a loving, healthy family, then there was some point in your infancy and childhood where you were loved simply because you existed. That gave you a sense of identity. And that sense of identity is more important than anything that happens to you. This is why there are people out there, really successful people, you'll hear them say, yeah, everybody was telling me I couldn't do it. I kept on trying and I kept on failing, but I knew who I was. And I knew that I could accomplish anything that I wanted. That means that internally they self-parent themselves. They pick themselves up. They tell themselves they're going to be okay. They have this belief in themselves because they love themselves simply because they exist. They don't love themselves based on what they do. But if you grew up in a family, and there's, it's usually a sliding scale, where your worth was based on what you do, then you are going to be waiting around for other people to give you your worth. You're not individuated within yourself. See, what are we talking about here? We're talking about give to yourself first. So you don't wait around for others to give things for you, to you. You give to yourself first. If you're on a plane and the plane is going down, they tell you, grab the oxygen mask and give yourself oxygen first, then pull it down and give it to your kid. Because if you give oxygen to your kid and you pass out before the kid gets the oxygen, you're both going to be passed out. And nobody's helped. You take care of yourself first. So you make your happiness your priority, your true happiness your priority. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6, give to others anonymously. So this is really good for when you're feeling, the whole point of this 10 list here is assuming that you're having a tough time. You're feeling crappy. You're not happy. You don't feel successful. You feel stuck. These are things to switch your brain chemistry around so that your brain will work for you. What happens is when we're trained by our parents and by our life, and how we choose to respond to life, and it creates these tracks in our minds. And it's hard for us to get out of those tracks. The only way we can change tracks in our mind is through repetition, is by taking disciplined action, and oftentimes taking the exact opposite action to what it is that you are feeling the impulse to do. And discipline means that you're choosing to do the opposite of what your instincts are telling you to do. And this will create a different pattern in your brain, where your brain will release different chemicals. Like I said, when I go to the gym and I lift, I'm happy. When I go surfing, I'm happy. There are certain things I know that if I do, I'm going to end up feeling good. Those actions give me direct results. But if you want to be Mr. Olympia and feel really healthy and feel good, there were times in my life when I've been really out of shape and I have to get back into shape. And the last thing that I wanted to do was go to the gym every day or go train or whatever it was I was doing. It was the last thing I wanted to do. And it didn't feel good at all. But the good feelings that came from being healthy, from accomplishing things that release all those happy things in your brain, comes from a direct result of disciplining yourself to do the things you don't want to do. All right, so this is one of the things: giving to others anonymously. Don't give when you're feeling crappy. Don't give or do anything for others in the hopes that they're going to then turn around and validate you. Go and give to somebody anonymously, and make the rule that they can't know. It doesn't count if they find out, or if somebody knows that you did something for somebody else, it doesn't count. You have to go and do something for somebody, and either they don't know who did it, or they don't even know somebody did anything for them. If you do that, this will be another way to individuate, because then you'll learn how to give simply because it makes you happy. And you don't even care. Like if you give somebody a gift and they don't like it, and you get your feelings really hurt. Have you ever been around people like that? They give you things that you didn't want, and then they get all upset when you don't like, what they gave you, or you don't wear that jacket every day or whatever it is. Well, they weren't giving just for the sake of giving. When you give somebody a gift, once it leaves your hands, you don't have an attachment to what happens to it. Your only attachment is I honestly want to see if that's going to make that person happy. What can I do to make them happy in and of themselves, not get something from it? So giving to other people anonymously is a really good way. And if you get in the habit of doing that, let's say you're in you got out of a crappy relationship and you're in a funk for a long period of time. Every day go out and do something for somebody else and don't let them know about it. It's a really powerful way to shift the brain so that the brain will start giving you those rewards, and you start to learn what it means to do things just because it makes you happy. Ironically, you're doing it for other people. All right, talk about your feelings. Talking about your feelings is when, on this channel, the two things that I ask people to do is I ask them to ask me honest questions about what I teach. So an honest question is you don't know and you think I might have the answer. Now, if you have the answer, some people do that. They pretend to ask a question and then they throw out their opinion. It's like, well, you didn't really need my help on that. You want me to co-sign your opinion. So that's not really a question to me. But the other thing to do is to ask is to share an honest feeling. And the reason why I tell people to share an honest feeling is because saying to some, in other words, if I say something about the universe and then somebody wants to argue with me about that, what I'll almost always do is say, tell me how you feel about it. I'm not interested in arguing with you to see who's right. I'm more interested in knowing how you feel. I want to know what your emotional agenda is. I want to know what it is you want, what it is you emotionally want and need. Because then I might be able to help you. So by sharing honest feelings, again, if you have a mentor, a friend, somebody that you can share honest feelings with, If you can share your honest feelings with somebody, you'll learn to take responsibility for the things that you want, and you'll learn to take responsibility for the disappointments, for when you didn't get what you wanted. You're dating a girl, you love her, and you buy her a diamond ring, and you're doing it because you want her to commit to you, you want her to love you back. Nothing wrong with that. She says, you know what, I can't take this. In fact, I don't think we should be together. Talking about your feelings will help you to understand that you had an expectation. Nothing wrong with that. But the difference is, if you say, I was this and that to that girl and she was mean to me and women are horrible, you never learn, you never grow. But if you get honest with those vulnerable feelings and you talk to somebody and say, I really wanted that person to love me and they didn't love me and it really hurts, then you will be able to take responsibility for your expectations on others. And then you'll know the difference when somebody doesn't do what you want. You'll be more aware of your unhappiness has as much to do with you trying to control them as it does with you not getting what you want out of life. Because the truth is, everybody has the right to do whatever they want. Everybody has the right to love you or hate you. They have the right to be kind to you or mean to you. You don't have to stick around for it. But, if being a bad person was not somebody's right, the moment somebody did something bad, the universe would snuff them out of existence. That's not what happens, is it? People spend their whole lives being evil and wrong and bad and manipulative. The universe lets them get away with it. It means they have the right to not do what you want. And that is only important to the extent that you look at yourself and you're able to say what it is that I want. And I wanted this and I didn't get it. I'm sad. Your parents didn't love you the way you wanted. You can go two ways with that. You can spend your whole life talking about how your parents did it to you, and you'd be right. Actually, there's three paths. The second one would be to deny that and to pretend that it doesn't bother you and to feel guilty about being sad that you didn't get the love that you wanted. And then a third way is to be very sad, to really own your pain, to process it, to feel it, to cry over it, to mourn over it, and then to realize that you wanted something and you wanted somebody to give you something and they didn't, and they had the right to not do what you wanted. And if you can own your feelings, you'll be able to then take responsibility for your expectations. When you can take responsibility for your expectations, then you'll have more likelihood of achieving your expectations and bringing happiness to yourself. If you don't understand that, that's okay. Just sit with that. All right, let's keep going. What else do we got here? Acknowledge your expectations. So I've already just jumped straight into that. Acknowledging your expectations. Most of the people, when they talk about the world and the world is this and this is that and these people are bad and those people do this, what they're not acknowledging is their expectations. They're not, you love Trump and, if depending on how you look at it, he didn't get elected. Instead of spending time talking about how those evil, commie Democrats screwed it up for you, acknowledge you didn't get what you wanted. Acknowledge that you wanted that. I wanted that because he makes me feel safe, because he talks smack about other religions or whatever it is that makes you happy. Acknowledge what it is that makes you happy. Acknowledge your expectations. Because judgments, when people sit around judging other people, they're not being honest about what they want. They sit around and judge women. For instance, the MGTOW boys sit around judging women. They're this, they're superficial, they're manipulative. What they're not being honest about is that they wanted love. They loved some woman and that woman didn't love them back. They wanted their mom to love them and their mom didn't love them. They're not acknowledging the pain associated with not getting what they want. When you can do that, that will give you the ability to then be able to get what you want. This is so. Hopefully, I'm explaining. Peeling back when I talk about dropping your victim mentality. Dropping your victim mentality. Any type of mentality that says that you're a victim of something or somebody else. Underneath that is a bunch of expectations that didn't get met. And there's a bunch of feelings. There's a bunch of sadness. There's a bunch of pain. There's a bunch of fear. There's anger. There's a bunch of feelings about not getting what you wanted. And when you can acknowledge that, then you can then make some decisions and get the things that you want. But if you don't acknowledge it, you'll never get out of that victim state, because you'll always be believing that you are a victim of what life does to you. Right? Jack Perry says that I made him focus on bad things. He says, tell us the facts. Not to be rude, but I've just tuned in and you're only making me focus on bad things. He's made me so powerful that I can force him how to have his feelings. And I'm not that powerful, Jack Perry. That's all you. I can't force you to do anything. I certainly can't force you to feel something like that. Okay? All right. So where are we at now? We're at something about expectations, I think. Acknowledge your expectations. Number 9, avoid complaining. I guess I'm kind of lucky. The universe and I have a relationship. So just to take responsibility, the universe and I have a relationship. And in that relationship, there are things that when I do certain things, I get certain rewards. I am really good at analyzing all the things that are wrong with the world. If I wanted to have tons and tons of followers, I could have a channel where all I did was complain about and pick apart how everybody's screwed up in all these different ways. I wouldn't make any money from that. That's what I've learned. The universe is not going to let me make money if I do that. So I won't be one of those people. I can't be a Rush Limbaugh or somebody like that who just spends their whole time, or a Sean Hannity who spends their whole time, from the moment that the spotlight hits them, they start talking about, and so once again, the Democrat agenda of taking away your rights, and he spends the whole time talking smack and complaining about other people. I can't do that. I can. I'm really good at it, but I won't get anything from it. The universe won't give me a living out of that. So the reason why people complain is because there is a payoff. I said this last night in my other podcast, but all of the people who stormed the Capitol, they all had one thing in common. They were all complaining about what was being done to them. Now, the ironic thing is that it was made up of a bunch of people who, under normal circumstances, would never interact with each other. You had born-again Christians who don't drink, don't smoke, right? They go to church. You had QAnon people who believe in aliens and free love and, wear horns and shamanism and take ayahuasca and all that kind of stuff. Those guys won't get along. And then you got the gun rights guys, and then you got the militia guys, and you got all these other people who normally wouldn't get along. The feel-good, I only eat organic food shaman guy, and the guy who is in the militia, who goes around and hunts animals and slaughters them and kills them. Those guys wouldn't hang out together. But they had one thing in common. They were complaining about what was being done to them. And that is a really strong bond. And so that is a real temptation. What I see in a lot of the woke community, I'm woke, right? When people talk about that, what they mean by that is when they say, I'm awakened, my spiritual awakening, and then they'll start talking about how they're doing it to you and the universe is lying to you and manipulating you and NASA's lying to you. They think that's being awakened. But all they're doing is they're complaining, again, about things that they think are out of their control, that are controlling them. So don't waste time with that. Drop all of that and don't complain about something you can't fix. Instead, if you find yourself complaining, stop and go, oh, what can I do to change things? What can I do to fix it? So this, again, is taking responsibility. If you find yourself complaining, stop. I was doing this yesterday. I was complaining about something that wasn't going my way, and I stopped and I said, well, what can I do differently? What can I do to change it? And so I made some different actions based on that, and it got me further out of the funk. All right, so don't complain. Instead, think of what you can do to change things. And number 10, get rid of dead weight. You're in a job you can't stand, quit. You're in a relationship that's not serving you, walk away. You've got a lifestyle that's not working for you, drop it. What are you doing with your time? That's dead weight. Get rid of the things in your life that don't serve you. All right, so these are just 10 things. I just threw up this list randomly yesterday. These are 10 things, in my experience, that help you when you're in a funk. When you have all that stuff in your head that I tell you about, finding your soul desire and taking action on your soul desire, but then you're just waking up one day and you're just in a funk and you're not feeling good. Look through this list. Take full responsibility. Seek some kind of help, some kind of mentoring, some kind of advice. Understand that your feelings are not facts. Take a look at your objective reality and then reality test it. Are your negative feelings lining up with the actual objective facts? More than likely, no. Your actual physical reality is probably going to be a lot different than how you feel. You will always have the opportunity to have gratitude for, just being able to be alive. Your heart is beating, your lungs are functioning. You're not in a hospital somewhere. There's always something that you can find to be grateful about. Assume that you are loved. The universe loves you and wants to help you. Regardless of how you feel, make that assumption. Then ask yourself, if I felt completely loved by the universe, what would I do today? And then act as though you felt that way. That's an assumption. Give to yourself first. If you're feeling like crap, it's probably because you may be needing something. So before you start looking to take care of other people and get other people's approval, give to yourself first. Go and give to somebody else and don't let them know you're doing it. Number 6, give to others anonymously. This is a way of helping others. It's sort of like a way of doing, it's like a form of magic. It's a form of sympathetic magic. You're going to go and give to somebody else without them knowing it because that's what you want. You want the universe to show up and give you a gift. So you're going to go do it to somebody else. Talk about your feelings. Talking about your feelings is not the same as complaining. It is acknowledging how you're feeling. You're angry, you're sad. Within those feelings, acknowledge your expectations. What is it you really wanted? Own it. Take responsibility for what you wanted. Don't complain about the way you're feeling and don't make it about the world doing it to you, or don't talk about, facts, this, that. Acknowledge that you had expectations and you didn't get them. And then number 9, don't complain unless you can do something to fix it. Figure out a way to fix it. And then after you've done all this, get rid of the things you don't need. All right, so we went through that a lot faster than I expected. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. So God Emperor, before I even started talking, he had a question all ready to go. He says, question. The resistance is really difficult. I'm doing one of the standing postures, but the rest I'm feeling an extreme invisible barrier. And that's not a question. That's a statement. So that's good. You're conscious. Feelings are not facts. Just do the practice. What if you're not familiar? He's talking about the 90-day challenge, the Warrior 90-day Thunder Qigong, Lightning Qigong, where we go through tapping into the power of the heart center, which actually gives you the ability to change your reality. So the resistance he's talking about is, a lot of these things that we're talking about here, this negative stuff, being a victim, feeling victimized, sabotaging your life. We do this because on an unconscious level, we think we're protecting ourselves. So the first thing, God Emperor, is to be patient with yourself. Stop beating yourself up. It's okay. I told you, if you remember, I told you if you do this, you're going to feel resistance. So the fact that you're feeling resistance means that you're accomplishing something. If you go to the gym and lift really hard, the next day your muscles are going to be sore. That's a good sign. It's a good sign that you're feeling the resistance. Just do what you can. Okay? Vincent.thunderwizard.com. He's one of my astrologers. You can go to his website if you want and get an astrology reading that I have trained him to do. And you can get, I believe he's got a 30 or 35% off or something like that. All right, let's see. Okay, so you guys are talking to each other, which is not my favorite thing to see here. All right, I already talked to Jack Perry about his comment. Okay, I don't know what Arzu Singh is saying there. I don't understand that. Let's see, what else? Arzu Singh, you're new to the channel, yes? So I don't know you very well, but just based on those two comments, you have a victim mentality. It's not serving you. It feels good to have a victim mentality. You gain a sense of power by pointing and saying they're doing it. On the way to you would own nothing but still be happy. I don't know what that means. The universe equals system. What system are you talking about? Are you talking about the society? Are you talking about politics? That's not what I mean. So I don't need you to speak for me. Universe does not equal system. I welcome you to the channel. I specifically invite you to watch my videos about the Matrix, because then you'll understand what I mean when I talk about the universe. Or maybe I'm not understanding. Pay it forward. Yeah, that's a cute thing. We can use that. Another question. Tips. Okay, so you know what I appreciate? I appreciate when people speak in full sentences. I know it's challenging. I know you have to pay attention and it takes effort. But use full sentences. Use an object, a verb, a subject. Put things in context, so that because the idea is you're asking me a question in the hopes that I can help you. The more that I understand what you're saying, the better I'll be able to help you. Question. Tips on dealing with prolonged detachment, emotional withdrawal, question mark. That's not a question. How to ease access to fire. What? Especially after prolonged heavy THC use and overt watery. So my first suggestion is to stop indulging in THC. It's really unhelpful. What's the other one? There's two things that people get out of cannabis. And one of them doesn't get you high. It does a little bit. And then THC is what gets you high. So, so now I know why you're having difficulty writing full sentences, because you've been doing so much THC, you're kind of lazy. All right, so THC is really nasty stuff. So go onto my channel. If you don't know how to do it, go onto my channel, go onto the channel page. So type in Thunder Wizard in the YouTube search section, go to my channel page. And on my channel page, if you're on a laptop, you go to the second menu and you'll see videos and about, and there will be a little magnifying glass. You click on that, and then you can search within my channel about any subject you want. Type in marijuana. I have a whole 2-hour video telling you how THC screws you up. energetically, and is not helpful. Really does not help. So you're asking me how to deal with all this stuff: prolonged detachment, emotional withdrawal. THC really messes with your ability to maintain feeling motivated and functional and happy. It's the reason why it becomes addicting, even though it's not addictive in the sense of like a heroin. It's not that kind of addiction. It creates an emotional and mental addiction because the really good feel-good chemicals that come out of your brain, THC forces your brain to squeeze those out, which is why you feel good. But then when you're done, then you're here's normal, and then you smoke some weed or eat an edible or something, and boom, it goes up like this. But then what ends up happening is that your pituitary, which is monitoring all of those feel-good chemicals, goes, oh, hang on, we got way too much of those chemicals, and it tells the brain to stop production. Stop producing the DMT or whatever it is that makes you feel good. So then when you come down, you're way down here. And now you're at a deficit. And your brain isn't at those, it isn't charged up and it isn't creating those feel-good chemicals. And so you need something, so you end up going and taking an edible or smoking a bowl. And then boom, you're up here. But you were up here last time, but now you're here. And it takes more. And then eventually, your normal state is way down here. So you're asking me how to deal with that. My first thing to tell you is to stop smoking weed and stop doing THC. It is no good for you. God Emperor, question. When I do the thunder posture, if you go here to the 90-day challenge, if you subscribe there, you will learn the thunder posture, which is, in my experience, the most powerful way to connect to the power of the heart center. It actually gives you all the things that is, ironically or coincidentally, that THC, when people take THC, what they think they're getting, you actually do get from when you tap into the pericardium meridian, which is the energy center around your soul, around your heart. So the thunder posture is probably the most direct and powerful way to achieve that. All right, when I do the thunder posture, my head vibrates and my heart beats fast. Is this supposed to happen? I don't know that it's supposed to happen. It means something is going on, but I don't know what that means. My first thought is, God Emperor, knowing what I know about you, which I won't share publicly, you're really into control. I mean, look at the name, God Emperor. You really want to control things. So one of the things that's going to happen when you do that work is you're going to have to let go. In order to have the power come into you, you've got to stop trying to control everything. If your head is vibrating, again, you are really, because of your situation, you're in your head all the time. And so it might be really challenging for you to really let go of that. Again, it's really important for you to be talking with a therapist. So you should be doing that as well as doing my practices, okay? So I don't know exactly why, but is it supposed to happen? It's not uncommon. I'm not quite sure what it means. I think it might mean on an emotional and psychological level that the energy, you're fighting with the energy. Let's see. God Emperor, I was asking about the extreme invisible barrier. Well, I don't know what extreme invisible barrier you're talking about. You're assuming that, when have I told you that there's some invisible extreme barrier? That's your experience. So it's better if you tell me, my experience is I feel this extreme invisible barrier. And then you say, because I wasn't expecting it to get more and more hard at first. So, when did I tell you what to expect? You didn't expect that. I know you're doing something. This is a reason why this is a forbidden practice that's been done by high-level shaman, mystic, sorcerers for 2,000 years. Yeah, I understand. You thought you knew what was going to happen, and now you're finding out you don't understand what this thing is. You went into it like we all do, going, power, I want power, and now you're finding out power is not what you thought it was. So this is part of the deal. This is what I'm talking about. You got to drop all your expectations. Drop all of, become aware of how you're trying to control everything. And you can't. If you want true spiritual power, you have to stop trying to control things. The ironic thing is, if you want to have the power to be able to move objects and change the universe, you have to first not have any power. You have to go back to nothing. So this is what we do. We go back to nothing. The place of nothing, the place of emptiness, is the place where you can access all of the power. So you've had a misunderstanding about what power is this whole time. You think power is control. You think power is something it's not. So, this is one of those things you can't know until you do it. People ask me about this and they go, I want you to tell me exactly what I'm going to get from this. I'm like, how can I possibly tell you exactly what you're going to get? I don't know what infinite powers are waiting for you. I don't know what you're going to have to go through. I can tell you some general things. But one of them is you're going to have to let go of everything you thought you knew about how the universe worked. You're going to have to drop all of that, go back to nothing. But that's okay. Again, it's just a feeling. You're telling me now it's not what I expected. I'm finding it to be challenging, and I've been telling you the whole time it's going to be challenging. This is where you take action regardless of how you're feeling. You're feeling all of this resistance, you just do the practice anyway. And you're right, I heard you say up there earlier that you've backed off. So that's the thing to do is to do what you know you can do every day. Better to do 3 minutes of something every day than to do 2 hours one day and then never do it again. That's usually what happens. All right, let's see what else. So you're going through resistance. I don't know what to tell you. You're not me, so I don't know what your resistance experience is going to be like. Only you will know that. Pepsi Cola question. Any advice or tips where to research on how to exhale with both mouth and nose at the same time? All right, so you're asking me this because if you're new to the channel, there's a thing that I teach called the Hool breath. You can type that in anywhere on YouTube and you'll see videos of me and probably other people teaching it. The most powerful form of chanting is to chant without making any sound and getting the air to come out of the nose and the mouth at the same time. So you're probably trying too hard. It's when you get it, it's very easy to do. But the first thing is you don't blow hard. So it's not. That's not it. If that's what's happening, you're doing it too hard. You have to exhale so slowly that you couldn't make a noise even if you tried. Right? So if I'm going to do the Hool breath if I make it with noise, that's coming out of my mouth. I can't do it out of my nose and make a noise at the same time. So if I do it, I have to do it so slowly that I can't make any sound with my vocal cords, and then you'll be able to get both coming out at the same time. So if I do that silently. So I haven't even got through a quarter of it. That gives you an idea of how long it takes to exhale. So you're probably trying too hard. You're not going to find any tips and research how to do that because very few people even know of this technique. It's a hidden technique, and like I said, very few people even know it exists, but it's the most powerful way to chant anything. So just keep practicing. Stop trying so hard and go back to subtlety. How long would it take? Should we time it? How long would it take for me to exhale? Let's see. I mean, I didn't even get halfway through. Okay, so hopefully that'll help. Lushka, question, did you create the whole breath meditation? How does that information help you? So Lushka, if you see these links up here, thunderwizard.com, courses.thunderwizard.com. If you click on courses.thunderwizard.com, you're going to see all of my books. And in my first book, I tell the story of how I discovered and started teaching the whole breath. So again, I don't know what difference it makes if I created it or if I didn't. Why is that important to you? Why do you care? Are you just curious? Or be honest. Do you want to know? Do you think that it is more powerful if I didn't create it? Or do you think it's more powerful for you if I did? What does it matter? I'd like to know. All right, so I don't see any questions. So you know what, when there aren't any questions, then I either have to entertain you or sell you on stuff. So I just made a new promo for the Lightning Qigong, so I'll just go ahead and play that for you right now. All right, I don't see any more questions. So I guess that's it for today, huh? Okay, so again, all of these links are here for a reason. Please enjoy them. Thunderwizard.com is the main subscription site for this channel. It is what keeps me on YouTube. It's what keeps me doing this. If you want to see me continue to make these videos, then one way you can do that is by just going to thunderwizard.com and subscribing. Now there's always, I never just ask for donations. I don't believe in that. If you want to just donate for the sake of donating, you're still going to get stuff. You can use it or not use it. But even if you subscribe at the lowest level, you'll get access to the Shamanism Mastery course. The majority of your questions that you might have are going to be answered there. And then, of course, there are multiple levels, and the one that we just talked about was the Lightning Qigong. So you click around for Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. And we are just getting ready for phase 3. So you've heard about some of the power that people have had. You know, God Emperor is talking about the power that he's feeling. Yesterday, somebody left a comment on the channel saying that they've been doing, I believe, just level 1. And the calluses on his hands was peeling off. I've had that happen as well. It means that there's so much energy coming into your hands And he said also his skin was softer. So much energy coming through your hands that the calluses come off. And so it's sort of like shedding your snake skin. Just to give you an idea of just the power of just doing one of the postures can do for you. So that's what we're doing. That's the thing I'm promoting right now. Courses.thunderwizard.com, all of my books, all of my practices, everything there. Go and check that out. And then if you want an energy transmission from me, you can do energyhealing.thunderwizard.com. And so anyway, that's all the stuff there. Again, if you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. And of course, you can work with me on a one-on-one if I don't think there are any slots available at the moment, but we still have that. All right, I do see a question popped up. Dean Nevins asks, question, is there a difference in the effect of verbally chanting a mantra and listening to the same mantra through headphones? Yeah, there's a difference. They all have their benefits. If you chant something out loud, you'll feel it vibrating through your body, so it's going to have an effect on your cells, your cell structure. It's also going to have an effect on your aura, and it will have effect on the immediate environment and people around you. So this is why when you go to like a Vedic ceremony, the priest is chanting out loud, Triambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivardhanam, as he's lighting the thing and pouring the stuff. That's because he's doing that for the benefit of the people around who are going to be empowered by the spoken mantra. If you whisper something, which is, if you really want to do it right, the way that I've taught, where you do it out of the nose and the mouth at the same time, where you really do it slowly, that goes on a subtle level that I don't even know if I understand what it is. I don't know if that's the subtle level or I don't know what, but it goes, it's like it goes off into infinity. And then if you have the ability to chant something purely in the mind, I don't know that I have that power. I'm not so good at that. But if you have the ability to in your mind, without being distracted by other thoughts, to be able to chant something over and over again, that goes on a deep level, and that can go deep into your unconscious, deep into your karmic body. So they all have different benefits. Listening to somebody chant something, I think it goes directly into your unconscious, which is why people listen to, when they're being hypnotized or when they're listening to, whatever it is, some kind of affirmation recording or something. They're attempting to reprogram their unconscious. But it's interesting, if somebody were to actually take a look at all of them and do some experimentation. I like the first two ways. I like chanting things out loud. I like the feeling that as it goes through my body, I'm very physical. And I like doing the whole breath silent whisper thing, but everybody's different. All right, Wanderer says wishes me well. Okay, good for him. Thank you for that. All right, I don't got anything else to say if you guys don't have any more questions. So I missed it by an hour. I'm trying to make this a regular thing. Let's see, how many people do we have? We have 26 people. So my goal is to get more and more people watching this live stream. So, I want to, people have been asking me to do that. I've been starting to do it. I haven't seen a whole lot of difference, to be honest with you. I don't see a difference in whether I just do it, if I schedule it or if I just show up. It seems to be kind of the same. So I'm hoping Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. 6:30, let's see, how many, So that's what I'd like to do. And if you guys want to do that, show up at 6:30 p.m. Now, I can't guarantee it, because if there are days when the waves are really good, I may be surfing instead. So, but that's my goal. Anyway, like this, subscribe, and do me a favor, take the URL of these videos and post them up on your social media. See if you can get more and more people coming to the channel. My goal is to get 1,000 people at the Warrior Lightning Qigong level, because when I get a big enough group of people, we are going to do live chantings, meditations, and we're going to see how we can take this power, the heart center, the heart-mind power, and use it to affect our reality. And we'll do experiments if you want. We'll see if we can change the weather. We'll see if we can, affect society. We'll see what we can do. But I would love to see 1,000 people signed up on that, and really putting our efforts into not only changing ourselves but changing the world. All right, did a question show up here? Lushka, question: would it be wiser to do each phase of the 90-day challenge through a 90-day period rather than trying to level up each phase through a 30-day period? Yes. My apologies. I think I confused that. I think I said 30 days when I meant 90 days. You should do each level for 90 days because, as you can see, there are people running into, these things, the two things that you're going to need. There's other things. I mean, if you did the other stuff up here, if you've been on here for a while and you've done all the other things that I've been teaching for years, then you've been helping yourself out. But the two things that are most helpful are Celestial Qigong, which you can get at spirittao.com. You can also get it if you look at courses.thunderwizard.com. You'll see numerous packages where I include the Celestial Qigong for free. So if you're smart, you'll get one of those packages and get it for free. But you can go to spirittao.com. You can also go to lockdown.thunderwizard.com if you want to get it, again, for free with a bunch of other stuff. And so you're going to need those two things, and then you're going to need the thunderwizard.com. Don't put a space in there. I didn't tell you to put a space in there. thunderwizard.com and the 90-day challenge. So those two things are what you're going to need to build up the nervous system and the meridian system. You've got to open up the meridian system and empower the nervous system, because when we get to phase 3, if you thought it was powerful before, I don't know, we'll see. But my goal is to then introduce the real power, what we call the hands of creation, which is also called the hands of infinity. And it's the base power. There's 3 major levels that you're working at here. The first one is if you really want to unleash the power of the lower self, the dantian, the navel center. If you really want to open that up and see what that's all about, that is how you create worlds. Brahma, the god of creation, is actually the lower self. So learning how to master that. Whenever you read in Vedic mythology, you read about the asuras who do the penance to control the universe, right? Who rule, that's actually symbolic of the human being controlling, getting the true power of the lower self. And so by doing that, you're going to see what that's all about. I mean, the energy is really phenomenal. And then the second level, so we're not even anywhere near that, but the second level is working directly with the heart center. So and what I'm talking about is just doing very simple movements and postures that will set off the switches, that takes that lightning power of the heart and then releases it through the body. The changes that occur in awareness and your abilities to influence your reality start to really, things start to get kind of strange and creepy. And then the third is truly opening up the third eye. And that is, so the first one is the hands of infinity, hands of creation. I'm touching my navel center. The second is the mirror, learning the path of the butterfly, which has to do with facing the mirror, and what that's all about. Really facing yourself. That can be really intense. And then up here, this one is becoming God, becoming an immortal. So this is the path of the immortal, and that's a whole other thing. So you're tapping into if you were to look at the gods of the Vedic astrology, or just the gods of the Vedic religion, the lower self is Brahma. So if you want to research the powers of the hands of infinity that we're going to be getting to, go research Brahma, B-R, the god Brahma, what he's all about. The god of creation. And then you learn what Vishnu's all about, and then you learn what Shiva is all about. All right, let's see what else. He says, will it be helpful? Sorry, Dean Nevins, I didn't finish your question. Will it be helpful even when I'm not focusing on it? Yeah, I'm trying to use it while doing schoolwork. Yeah, I think it definitely will help you. Guy Home, doesn't look like a question. He says, an oak showed me a fallow deer. Next day, a neighbor said, I saw a fallow deer also while doing it. Birds started flying in circles above me, and today in the same place, I found a beautiful feather. Well, that sounds really wonderful. Good for you. Sounds like a really beautiful experience. It's not a question, so I can't comment on it. What else? Anything else? Nothing else. All right. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys when I see you. Have a good one.